Good morning, Wildcats. Welcome again, and here's a special episode for Wildcat TV. This is a slightly different episode where Maya and Taneesha are going to be introducing 5 students of color who are going to participate with us in sharing their experiences in their personal lives related to being specifically students of color. This is a slightly different Wildcat TV, and so we expect full engagement and same expectation of cell phones away, not on your cell phones while you're participating in this process. Let's give our full attention and full respect to the students who have been vulnerable in being willing to share their personal stories. So thank you, Maya and Taneesha, for taking on the next portion of this segment.
Hey everyone! As you may remember, we had our Cats for Compassion assembly earlier this fall. Yesterday, we had our MLK assembly. While these two assemblies may not seem related at first glance, the thread of kindness is at the root of inclusivity and anti-racism. Compassion extends beyond surface-level good manners, or how we learn to be nice in kindergarten, and challenges us to examine the words we use, the jokes we make, and the body language we choose. Compassion empowers us to view one another as fellow human beings worthy of respect and dignity, no matter who we are.
The civil rights movement and MLK's legacy are not just history lessons of the past. Racial biases and racist systems negatively affect millions across America every day, even here at Mount Si. Motivated by compassion and led with kindness, we must continue MLK's work of being actively anti-racist in our own communities. This is partly why we brought up being active and not passive at our Cats for Compassion assembly. Now we'll hear from some student speakers. We ask that you listen with an open heart, keeping kindness, compassion, and empathy in the forefront of your mind.
To me, Mr. Lehman's speech meant continuing the work and the legacy of the activists before us, and not letting it go to waste. We can be complacent with where we are right now as a community, or we can strive to move past where we are and become our better selves. And to me, becoming like a better version of ourselves as a whole is just taking care of each other more, and ultimately thinking about like what we say, even in like close friends and just like the people around us, as well as just educating ourselves more. I think that when we educate ourselves, we understand like what we're saying and like what it means and like what like impact it has on the people around us. And especially if it's something that can be hurtful, specifically just talking about just like jokes that poke fun at like marginalized communities, and even just like racial slurs, because it can be like super easy to cut these words out of our vocab, but it hurts a lot to like hear that stuff around the halls or even like in your like close friend groups. Like some people might say that they're okay with that, but ultimately like it really does hurt people who it does affect, and being on the other end of the stick can be really detrimental to like just the community as a whole. So to honor MLK and the other activists before and after him, I think as a school it would be awesome if we could stay more positive and strive to be our best selves by educating ourselves and thinking about what we say and around the halls and just like with our friends.
Hi Cats, my name is Lensa Hussien and I'm a sophomore at Mount Si. Changes that I'd like to see at Mount Si is for people to be more respectful and to join clubs like Black Student Union, Diversity Club, and Muslim Student Association. My experience being a Black person living in Snoqualmie for like about 9 to 10 years is that like in elementary school, middle school, high school, I've always been like that one Black person, like the back of the class. It really like weighs down on you when you start to see people that are being rude to specific races like Black people, Asian people, all those type of people. And it really does like hurt a lot because not a lot of people know when you say like certain slurs like the N-word or like calling people other slurs, they don't know how it'll affect other people and they just think it's like a funny word to just say. But to be honest, my experience hearing a lot of those words, it really does pushes on someone's character and personality, and it can change someone a lot to the point where they don't know how to act around certain people. They don't know whether they can fit in like in a society where it's mostly white people who don't know how to respect other cultures. And that's why I feel like Mount Si, we should really start representing how to respect cultures and respect people as who they are, because nobody picked their race that they were born into. Everybody's born into a certain race. And to be honest, we're all just people at the end of the day. We're all just humans, and I feel like we should all respect other people.
Hey Cats, my name is Norah. I'm a senior here at Mount Si, and I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about MLK and Mr. Lehman's speech that he gave to you guys a couple minutes ago. First, MLK, obviously a civil rights activist, someone that we can all look up to, someone that I look up to personally on an academic and as a personal level. He was a scholar, someone that strived to be better than his peers and to show that African Americans and minorities have academic capabilities as well. And I think that's something that I live by a lot in my day-to-day life. As far as Mr. Lehman's speech, I think the thing that we can take away from and put into Mount Si is just to love everybody. As humans, we just want to feel loved, and that's all that we can do at the end of the day. I mean, I've had experiences with staff members at this school that have tried to make me feel a little bit less than them, but all that I can think about is, why not just love everybody? And I think it's a lot easier said than done, but if we really put our mind to it and we think to the general standpoint, nobody needs to be hated at Mount Si, nobody at all. And I think if we can just love and understand that that's what everybody wants, I think that Mount Si will be a better place for everybody. Yeah.
And I'm president of Black Student Union. Something that has made it difficult growing up in predominantly white schools is feeling imposter syndrome. Sometimes I feel like I'm too white for my Black friends or too Black for my white friends. And that's just made it hard finding my identity. There have been times when I've straightened my hair and people say that I'm like trying to be white when that's just a way that I like to style my hair. Or I'll have box braids and then people will say that I'm like trying to be ghetto when that's just a protective hairstyle that I need for my hair. So just certain stereotypes like that are like microaggressions that make it hard for people to just exist freely within themselves without feeling like a fear of judgment. Something that MLK believes strongly in is the ability to show love and respect for other people. Countless times I've had people come up to me and ask if they could use the N-word pass, which, by the way, is not a thing. And I feel like that doesn't show love or respect for your friends, family, whoever in your community. The use of the N-word has very strong history. And if you are asking to use that rather than any other word that you could be using, that's not showing respect or love. And so I feel like somewhere where Mount Si can be more aware of that is just learning about the effect that your words have on people and taking that further and like teaching about it and just never using those words or phrases.
So, I mean, my time and experience within the district as a Black male has been a challenge finding myself within the community. Clearly being able to control the district, the diversity and the bubble we have here in Snoqualmie District is not the greatest. You know, being a Black student in Mount Si and residing in the Seattle area, where it's more financially prominent in the majority in the United States, has shown much of the color of skin changes, like how you act and how people treat you. And I mean, like personally, I used to straighten my hair and I used to try and dress like all my peers and try and act like them, which is just not really how you should go about it, you know, and which honestly really contradicted to how I grew up with my mother, who's from West Africa and Ivory Coast. So, I mean, this divide like led me to having different perspectives on how I should act and how I should believe in, being at school half the day and then going home to a completely different lifestyle, you know. And as I've grown, I really do see the students at Mount Si who are Black as like family, you know. There isn't much say, like, sure, we may not be the same people, but like we do have that in common, and I'm always going to see that as family. You know, MLK Day is not only a day that we recognize Martin Luther King Jr., but also a day that we can express our pride of being a Black African citizen in the United States. And also a day to appreciate the progress we have made as a society. And people always come up to me and they're always like, you're so light-skinned, you're so Black. And my response to that is, I am. Then what about it? And that leads me on to the topic of, you know, I don't feel belittled. You know, people can be racist, that's not going to affect me, you know, but it's just not how we should go about things, in my opinion, you know. I think it speaks on maturity. I think it speaks on how you view the world. And if you are belittled and, you know, even though it might not mean a lot to you, calling someone names that, you know, like you think is funny, like at the end of the day, what benefits are you wreaking out of it? And I think it just speaks straight embarrassment if you're willing to be disrespectful to someone due to their skin color just because you think it's funny.